What's up, folks? It's Frank the Tank here with JB Perez and C Money, the Podheads Web Show. Special homie here in the cipher, Big Ace, the OG Podhead here, one of the long time buds, here to do a session with us. And if you're fans, you guys know what we do in these sessions. We keep them short and we talk about trending topics of importance. And that's what we're doing here today. Today we're going to talk about Rayshord Brooks. And if you don't know his name, you sleeping. I mean, everybody knows the name because he's the latest person to be shot dead by police. This time in Atlanta, Georgia, in a Wendy's parking lot, no less. And obviously, the whole world is up in arms. Just when things started calming down about the George Floyd thing, you know, cops started getting arrested. People started feeling like change was coming. I even said here on the show, we all said maybe this is a turning point. This happens, and now people are rioting and protesting again. It just kind of relit the fire. So I just heard, let's get details out real quick. JB.
Get the facts out first. Go in Atlanta, a hotbed of kind of like the Black Lives Movement happening. Rayshord Brooks was in a Wendy's parking lot, and he kind of got pulled over by the cops, and the video starts where they're kind of just talking to each other. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It escalates to the point where they start struggling against each other. The facts are Rayshord Brooks took the taser from one of the cops that was there, started running away, turned around, pointed the taser, and the cop said that he shot the taser. His partner shot him twice in the back, dead. Those are the facts, okay? They burned down the Wendy's that same night, just throwing that in there. Wendy's had nothing to do with it, and they burned that motherfucker down to the ground. Those are the facts. And I already see Big A shaking his head like I said something wrong.
Because he wasn't pulled over.
But please, all right, okay, fine.
He actually passed out. He was drunk.
Okay.
Real. He passed out in the drive-thru, and they ran up on him.
He was out cold drunk in his car in the Wendy's parking lot, correct, blocking apparently orders from him. Like he passed out literally getting that late night burger. You know what I'm saying? When you drunk as shit. So
we've all been there.
We've all been there. So he passed out and people complained and they called the police to check on the guy. And I guess, and yeah, you saw the video. The video picked up after the police told him to move the car. He moved the car, then he got out and police started questioning him. And you saw, right? They went to arrest him. The guy blew a .108. Let's just say that. So he was clearly well over the legal limit. And you could tell just from what he was saying, the guy was shit-faced. All right, so that's a fact.
Remember that.
And I don't think anybody disputes that, right? Then you see in one video, and I don't know how many videos you've seen, Big Ace, but in one video you see not much. The camera, you hear him struggling. One cop says, "Get your hands off the taser." You hear running, you hear gunfire, and then everything else. But I saw another video, and I don't know if you saw this, Big Ace, but I saw another video where it showed Rayshard running away from the cop, and it looked to me like he pointed what looked like a taser or something with a flashlight, at the cop. And then I heard gunshots. I'm not sure if the cop chasing him or his partner was the one that shot him.
His partner. Those are facts. His partner got fired because of it.
Okay, so it's his partner. So the question there is was the killing justified? Apparently nobody in that area thinks so because they burned the damn Wendy's down. Again, and I'll touch on that later, but the people out there that are burning the Wendy's down, that are burning Wendy's down, you're in the same freaking boat with the looters and the instigators. You're taking attention away from the real shit. Now those people who work at Wendy's and who run that place, they're out of a job and they're all screwed because you people decided to punish Wendy's about shit. Burn the police station down if you want. I mean, I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying if you're issues with the police, right? Yeah, start with the police, not with freaking Wendy's. Big Ace, what is your beef with this? Beef? No pun intended.
Where's the beef?
What's for dinner?
What is your beef with obviously another black man shot dead by police, but you are telling me that this was murder?
Listen, first of all, if nothing else at all, niggas is burning down cities. They burning down the country. If nothing else, you should at least been thinking like, we need to fucking take this easy. But whatever the case may be, the fact is he was shot in the back. So if he turned and pointed the taser, how'd he get shot in the back? 2 and 2 is not adding up to 4 here.
I mean, the facts were his partner shot him in the back. You
Bro,
can imagine the situation.
Him and the partner were in the same area. They weren't on opposite sides of the guy.
Well, the guy was well. It's like this: the partner. We don't see where the partner was. We do see that the cop was chasing him, which means if the partner and the cop that was chasing were together at one point, the partner's got to be behind the both of them, right? Okay, so depending on the angle, it is where he ends up shooting the guy. I don't know that. That's up to the investigators. I guess my argument here, or I guess the big question here is this murder, and does this cop deserve to be fired? And to be honest with you, as much as people might not like to hear it, I don't think it's murder. I think the shooting was justified. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the family. And I know that all this is really bad timing. But, I mean, you can be as chill as you want. If somebody takes your weapon, especially one that can incapacitate you or kill you, and a taser can, what do you expect? I don't know. Like I said, I saw a video where it looked like Rayshard turned around and pointed something at the cop. At what point are you justified now in saying you felt your life was endangered as a cop?
Well, now that what leads me to the next point, since we're talking about facts, right? The facts are that in the state of Georgia, a taser is not considered a lethal weapon. In the state of Georgia, listen, you want to talk facts, right? If this shit goes to court, it's going to go based on law, not based on opinions. In the state of Georgia, a taser is not considered a lethal weapon.
But let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this on that point before we move to the next point. How come? Because I did some research about that taser thing. In the same city, in Atlanta or in Georgia, we all heard about the 2 college students who were pulled out of their car and tased by police officers, right? According to that report, according to the police department's justification for firing those officers, they said that the taser is considered deadly. They mentioned in their report that it could cause deadly force. So they might not consider a deadly weapon. For instance, if I catch a citizen walking around with a taser or a pistol, it's 2 different crimes. But if somebody's pointing a taser at your face, do you not have the right to use deadly force to defend yourself?
I'm just going based on what I watch a lot of TV.
Sure, okay, but you say the facts are taser's not deadly. What
law professors have stated, right? Based on what the laws in the state of Georgia are, number 1 is an officer cannot use deadly force unless he is in incredible imminent danger, right? Of lethal danger. It's worded exactly like that. And then if a taser is not considered a lethal weapon under state law, then legally under state law, he was never in any lethal danger. And my thing is, if the guy's running away, what I saw in the video, it looked like he was running away and he may have reached back or whatever. He didn't stop and turn around. Okay. I mean, that's just evident based on the evidence. He was shot in the back. If he had stopped and turned around, he'd have been shot in the front, in the side, something, not in the back.
Okay.
So my thing is, when you look at it, and the medical examiner ruled it a homicide, he caught 2 bullets in the back.
I love how the media uses words like homicide. Homicide just means one person killed another person.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So it doesn't necessarily mean murder.
Yeah, not first degree murder or anything.
Exactly.
But just, I mean, if you shot him in the back, obviously he was not posing a credible threat to you because he had his back to you.
I understand the situation. I understand the times. I understand that why this happened and why the Wendy's burnt down. I mean, it happened at the wrong time. Okay, but there are rules of engagement, right? There are use of force standards. And I bet you in every 50 states in America and probably every country in the world, the second he took the taser away from the cop, he crossed that line of rules of engagement. Now the cop is on edge. As soon as I see something happen, I am allowed by law to do what I gotta do. And that's what happened. I'm with you, Big Ace, he got shot in the back. That's bullshit. You take a taser, maybe they see money. See money said it. Why didn't he cap him? I was like, you know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe not enough training to assess the situation and pop 2 in his leg because he had a taser. But you know what? In the times, the world, if I was in that situation, pop is exactly what I would do. I have friends that would be cops. If they told me that's the situation, Big Ace, if you were my police officer and this bad guy took my taser and shot a taser, the facts, I don't know what to call the facts. The cop said he definitely shot the taser at me and he hits me in my eye. I fucking die. My wife is dead. My daughter loses her life because some guy wanted to shoot a taser at me. I would hunt you for the rest of my life because you let me die. You understand?
Okay, so I get that, right? But let's look at it from another point of view. Look, if that was you or me, and you were in that situation and you shot that guy in the back, your ass would be in jail.
He got fired and is being charged,
right? So why? Because he's a police officer to get a pass.
Well, look, he didn't necessarily got a pass. He got fired, and they're investigating because it's not very black and white. To be honest with you, there's many people who sit there and get put on administrative leave pending these investigations, and that kind of pisses me off because it's very clear that that these guys were in the wrong. This particular officer, I don't think the situation was so black and white. I think paid leave for investigation is meant for these kind of situations. There was people on the video screaming that he didn't do nothing. There's no way that any person with any kind of vision, saw that guy do right. You know, everyone knows you don't grab a police officer's weapon. And if you're gonna do that, you gotta fully expect retaliation. And I'm not saying that's justified because you always hear the people make the argument, oh, well, the guy shouldn't have
should have capped him twice in the leg.
Yeah, but everybody can sit here and say what somebody else should have done in a moment that they've never experienced. So you really don't know. So what you need to do in these cases is everybody be calm and look at the facts and do an investigation. But the chief is pandering to the community, not doing the right thing here, doing the political thing.
Yep.
And quitting and firing the guy. Whatever it is I don't want no drama. I don't need no trouble. I'm gonna retire and fire that guy.
Well, the chief quit. Right after this, the chief quit. And that guy got fired.
Exactly. So I'm saying she wiped her hands with it rather than doing the right thing. Look, you take some leave, and I think that we need to investigate this. I mean, if the guy's in the right, he's in the right. You shouldn't fire him just because there's a big movement right now. I get the shit's fucked up, but let's be real. One other thing I wanted to say about the shooting here is I talked to a couple police officers. Now, these aren't Georgia police officers, but I talked to guys here in 2 different counties in Florida. One of them being a shift commander or, like a supervisor. Another one being, an everyday cop that's out there serving, whatever. Fucking defending justice, protecting justice, whatever the hell you call it. Protecting the peace.
Protecting and serving.
Yeah, right? Protecting and serving, right? So, and these guys are good guys. I've known them for a long time, and they are honest about they agree with us about things like George Floyd, and they agree there's shit cops out there. But I just asked them a very simple question, not your opinion. I want to know what your training. I asked them, what does your training manual state about what to do if somebody gets their hands on your taser? And they both said the same exact thing. The situation immediately escalates to a lethal force situation. The taser, although it's supposed to be a secondary measure, right? There's supposed to be like talking, right? Like aggressive talk, then physical, restraint, and then there's tasing and night clubbing, shit like that, or pepper spray, and then there's murder. So you go through certain levels, and what I saw was levels. We saw this guy get spoken to. We saw this guy try to get detained and they tried yelling at him and grabbing at him. Then they even tried tasing him. He got the taser somehow, which is kind of embarrassing if you're a cop. Somehow he's drunk as hell. He got his hands on a taser and took off. But the minute that guy, that Mr. Brooks, got his hands on that taser, the situation became lethal. He could have killed the cop, not intentionally, but even the cops are trained to use those tasers in specific areas of the body so as not to cause lasting injury or death. They're trained for that. Exactly. So this guy who's not trained for this points it at your face. I'm sorry, but again, I feel for you, and I'm all about the Black Lives Matter movement.
I am too.
I will fight to the death for peace and justice and equality. But I think in this situation, it was the shooting was justified.
See, I feel like we're looking at this as an isolated incident. That in some ways, that's how it should be looked at, right?
Correct.
But we have to take a couple things into consideration. Number one, the moment he turned away and ran away, your life was no longer in danger. He's running away from you.
Sure.
That's number one, right?
And they didn't shoot him in the back. We did see video. We have seen videos of cops straight up shoot a person running in the back. They were trying to chase him.
Absolutely. But again, the moment he turned away from you to run away, you're not in danger anymore. Let's figure
Is the cop supposed to just let him run and not chase him?
I'm not saying you let him run, but what I'm saying is you don't shoot the man in the back, bro. Not only that, again, I understand and I agree with you. Everything you said, I agree 100%. You're right, because everything is not black and white. But what I think is that creates the anger and the outrage, right? Because I can
It's the media, bro.
Well,
it's the
no,
media
listen to me,
that creates that rage and outrage.
But listen, what I'm saying is what creates the anger and the rage and the outrage is, okay, so here you got an unarmed black guy. Yes, he took the taser, he ran away, they shot him in the back, right? You got this other guy that just had a fucking knee to his fucking throat for 8 minutes and change and died, right? But yet, we see white people de-escalated and taken perfectly fine for doing 10 times worse than what this man did.
That's true.
And they talk to him, and they pet him, and they talk nicely to him, and they calm him down, and they bring him to jail, right? We've seen people,
Bring him food too, I heard.
We've seen time again, white people do far worse. I've seen white people point a gun at a cop, and the cop talked to him for 10 minutes before he did anything and never shot the guy, right? But we got unarmed black men running away from police getting shot in the back, right? So that's where the emotion comes from. Yeah. That's where the anger comes from.
And all that is justified.
That's why, you know, you hear the Black Lives Matter thing and people get pissed off, right? But what they forget is, no, because when they see shit like that happening, that's what makes them feel like their lives don't mean shit.
We get that. That's not, I don't think anybody's arguing that. And you know what? I like the point that you made that these kind of things happen more often, end up in the death. These kind of things end up ending more often than not in the death of the black person versus the white person. That is a good point. And that's what the movement's all about. My argument is that these kind of things, okay, each case should be taken as, and be looked at individually. Right, without any consequence from outside tensions or anything like that. That's not to say that if there's a pattern, which there is a pattern of systemic racism and cops killing black people, I'm not saying that that's not true. Then that pattern needs to be dealt with. Bad cops, bad chiefs, bad politicians need to get dug out. But we do that by targeting the people who are in power in these situations, not at targeting Wendy's. Right, not at saying this freaking cop, not at targeting decent cops. I don't know shit about these cops. I don't know if these cops ever had a record or anything like that. All I know is that I'm not a racist, and if I'm chasing a guy who then turns and points a weapon at me, I'm shooting his ass. Sure. And I'm not thinking, and I wouldn't be the guy that's shooting him. Apparently, my partner in this case would have shot him. So, and I know, being in the military myself, that I would die for the guy next to me and him the same. So, you know, when you got your partners out there and you see that you feel his life is in danger, I know you're going to pull the trigger. All I'm saying is this. Would it have made a difference if the guy got shot in the side or the front? I don't think so, to be quite honest with you. I think that Rayshard escalated the situation, and he escalated the situation. And I get plenty of white people escalate situations and don't get shot, but some of them do. Sure. I think I honestly believe that 90% of the good cops out there, if they feel their life is in danger, black, white, Spanish, Asian, they're going to shoot.
Sure.
This particular case, I don't think it falls in Black Lives Matter. I want to get C Money's point of view here because he hasn't had a chance to speak much. He's the only white guy here. So I just keep it real. I want to know how you feel about this. You've also been very vocal, siding with the Black Lives movement. But what did you see? How do you feel about all this?
I just think it's funny how everyone's ignoring the fact the guy was shit-faced. Like, all right, I'll be the dad figure here, but dude, you're an asshole. You're driving shit-faced. Like, I know people that have died because of assholes like you driving shit-faced. People that I've been close to are dead because of that shit. So
Absolutely.
that aggravates me to the core. But I love how people, given the climate of what's happening right now in the world, that everything's going to go out the window. It's a very, very interesting time right now, whereas every single white person on earth right now is probably terrified. Even if they're not racist, they're probably terrified. They're afraid that they're going to say or do something that's going to be perceived the wrong way, or it's going to be I feel like this kind of stuff also makes the maybe white people that want to help aren't going to help because they're afraid to help, because it's just such a touchy subject where they're like, you know what, let me just not even get involved. It's not worth it. But anyway, dude, the guy was shit-faced, A. B, if I was shit-faced, and so much so that I passed out in a drive-through, which is comical, but to the point where you're actually blocking the drive-through and the cops have to come in, like, again, you're kind of an asshole, dude. And even at that point, I would have said to myself, I'm going to jail. Like, I just passed out in the drive-through at my Wendy's down here on the highway. I'm going to jail. Like, and these guys are even at that point, to Big Ace's point, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I've been here so enraged seeing some of these videos of what these cops are doing to innocent protesters, let alone any other black people out there. It's just amazing how they get away with this. But dude, that the fact that they didn't just rip him out of that damn car, to Big Ace's point, and just beat the shit out of him and blah, blah, blah. No, they pull him out. They're like, you know, again, I didn't watch the video. That's why I waited until now, because I wanted to get as many facts as I could. That to me was like they're being nice, where they didn't rip you out of the car and be like, what the hell are you doing, asshole? Like, dude, I would have been pissed as shit at this guy. Like, this is what you're wasting my time. Like, there could be a murder out there that I got to be at right now, but you're wasting our time because you decided to drive drunk and go to Wendy's. Like, I don't agree with. That's ridiculous. But the confrontation's a weird one, dude. I have a family member that's a police officer too, and I'm pretty sure he would say the same thing as Frank's buddies. Like, dude, my training and the trauma that I've been subjected to anyway during this job is muscle memory. You just reach for one of my weapons? No. Like, that's not how this works. But see, it's so hard to pick a side, because at the same time, the guy was wasted. Maybe he didn't realize what the fuck he was doing.
I'm sure he wasn't thinking the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, no.
He was drunk. Of course not.
He couldn't have been in the right state of mind.
Yeah, it's sad, dude. It's sad they weren't able to just handcuff him right off the bat, because he would have. There's two of them. There's one of him. Yeah, he wouldn't have been willingly going in those handcuffs, but at least once they get him on them, there's not much. There's no threat there. But yeah, the fact that this guy, even shit-faced, was able to grab that and get away from them and manipulate them to that point, like, the training, bro, training. Back to the original point. Like,
yeah, you know, one thing I want to say is, how many videos have we seen of people getting killed in the struggle? You know what I'm saying? This was 2-on-1, 2 cops on one, fighting over this taser. You telling me that one of those guys didn't have the opportunity to shoot him in that situation?
Yeah,
I think there was some restraint shown, man. Nobody bothered pulling a gun till this guy was hauling ass, and until video evidence showed him turn and point something at a cop. I literally just watched a video where 1-on-1, a cop was struggling with a skinny ass kid in the street, and the cop shot him.
So I get it. So it's a double-edged sword, right? Because no matter which way you lean, there's always an argument for either way. But I think everyone's at fault in this situation. I'm not saying that he's fucking innocent, because, dude, he was fucking drunk, passed out in the drive-thru of Wendy's, and he struggled with the police and ran away.
I really feel like if it was a different climate right now, I really feel like this would have been one of those videos where it's on Twitter and it's 50-50 with the comments saying justified, not justified.
Sure.
It's the climate that's making this so
Absolutely.
huge.
So what we should be really mad, and I guess I don't know what the timing is, but I said it in our text. Why are we pissed off about the black guy that was lynched?
That's so crazy.
Pissed about
Well, because they're
So-
still investigating that. Before we get down that rabbit hole, 2 people have ended up hung from that same tree, and they're investigating to. They initially said it was a suicide.
A suicide,
But,
yeah. Like
but people called for more investigation, and that investigation is being done.
that's the problem, bro. That's Black Lives Matter too.
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
you not? Well,
You're just gonna go ahead and just write it off as a suicide without even checking. Look, there is an issue with the justice system at its core, and that's the problem. We need to look at things from a different look. We have been around as a country for over 400 years, or almost 400 years now. And in those 400 years, technology has advanced way faster than we have evolved as a species. You know, I mean, just tenfold, you know, emotionally, right? Mentally, right? Intelligent. We just don't have the capacity as humans to keep up with the technology these days. We need to start looking at things differently than the way we did 100 years ago. The way we police ourselves, the way we educate ourselves. We are doing the shit the old way. The way we treat mental health, it's not working. And so if we just take a different look, you know, maybe we don't have to chase down the guys. Somebody made a point that the guy's car was parked in the Wendy's parking lot. He's got to come back for it. And they know who is there. They know who he is and where he lives.
Right. That may be training right there. Maybe a veteran would have just been like, radio, like, some jackass just got away with my taser.
that's a good point.
You know, now granted, the guy could get away with it and do further harm. You can argue this. You can what if this back and forth till kingdom come. But I'm not saying that the thing is to let people go. All I'm saying is maybe we just need to look at these situations a little bit differently. And if you make the situation black and white. If you come up with a standard that says, look, we are either not going to do this, or we are going to do this, or this is how you define a lethal threat, which is really hard to do. You know what I'm saying?
But it is like you said, both of your friends agreed, like, our training tells us, you reach for my weapon, that's death.
By the way, those police officers are black and Latino. So we're not talking about 2 good old boys that I spoke to, and both of them thought the shooting was justified. And they're not blue life matters dudes. These guys are guys like legit.
They call it down the middle.
Yeah.
But I think C Money said something that I think is the biggest issue in all of this across the board. Training. Training is shit. We live in a country where you have to go to school longer to be a fucking barber and cut somebody's hair than to get a badge and a gun and have somebody's life in your hands.
Yeah, it's crazy. You should
have
need
to
a
go to
4-year degree.
You have to go to school longer to become a fucking phlebotomist and pull someone's blood in the hospital
Yeah.
than to fucking be issued a lethal weapon.
I saw a tweet that said lawyers got to go almost a decade to practice law, but cops can go 6 months to enforce the law. That doesn't work that way.
It's crazy.
Right, and a lot of cops, you realize, don't know the law at all. That's why
they don't know their own laws. Dude. That's nuts.
And not for nothing, if 2 of you motherfuckers couldn't overpower one drunk dude and you lost your taser and you ran away, you deserve to take that L.
Yeah, bro. Every cop should have to take jujitsu. Like, that should be a must. Jujitsu is what you should have to take. And it's so it's amazing, man. Like, you should have to take jujitsu. You should have to have a 4-year degree. You should have to take psychology and human behavior courses and all this. But again, now the argument is, but watch how few cops there would be if there were so many hard requirements, dude. Then what?
Our studies
but
that
the ones we have will be quality officers.
Oh yeah, they'd be savages. Yeah.
Less than one.
But that's still huge. That's still a big number because there's 300 million people in America. Those will be less than 1%.
No,
You understand? They need the cops. There are studies that says you can't be smart enough. You have to be dumb enough to be a cop. You can get turned.
If you're too well qualified, you won't do it. Yeah.
So do we have to go the China surveillance route and reduce the cops that we have and increase the requirements?
I did talk about that before. We're already living in a surveillance state. They're just not telling us.
Right.
So why not just say so and say, hey, guess what? Everything you're doing is on CCTV. Don't act up. Less cops. You let the private company, watch the cameras like they do in London. I'm just saying that's a conversation for another day. But I will say this, just touching on that military folk, you got kids that go out overseas and they have to operate per the laws of the Geneva Convention. They have to provide medical treatment for guys that are literally trying to kill them if they are able to incapacitate them. They have to, they have to treat detainees with certain respect and care. And these guys are hungry. They're sleep deprived. They're scared for their life. They are living in a constant moment of fear, and they still manage to do their jobs. I don't want to hear shit about how stressful and how hard it is to be a cop.
You know that in the United States, a police officer doesn't even crack the top 10 hardest or most stressful jobs. I think they fell in number 16.
I think it depends on what city you live in.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be stressful as shit in Chicago, bro.
It does. You know what I mean? It must be hell in Chicago.
2 weekends ago, there were 25 murders in one weekend in Chicago. I'm sure that sucks being a cop, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially if you ever grown up in a city. I grew up in New York, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I forget how crazy some people are until I go back home or until I go into the city in certain places. And you just see the normal people that walk around there how bizarre and how out there some people are, especially the less educated, the higher, the more poverty, the
ignorant folk,
and that's what cops come into contact with more often than not. So it is a tough job, but as people say all the damn time, if you don't like it, don't do it. If you can't handle it, don't do the damn
get
job.
a better job.
I'm good with paying them too. Train them up and pay them good. The same with our teachers and our doctors. Pay the people that need to get paid. Train them up, and this problem will get solved.
Yes. Yeah. I'm all for the good cops out there.
Me too.
I'll put one in the air any day for good cops out there. The bad ones definitely got to go. There's no excuses for them. I'm not calling for no patience or no, everybody be cool. Keep cool heads with the dirty.
We've been cool. 400 years been cool.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is don't fucking kill everybody. Don't lump everybody. And black people don't want white people judging them and by the ignorant ones. There are some ignorant fucking black people. There are some bad black people out there. And the good ones don't want to be recognized by them. Just like all cops don't want to be recognized by bad ones. But that's it. That's my 2 cents.
That's it, man. I think we said enough. Everybody said their piece. Big Ace, thank you, man. Welcome back.
Sure.
Even just for now.
Yeah, now
it
let's
was
just
good. Miss you guys.
see what the comments come with now.
Bring it. Bring the heat. This is how the potheads feel. Black Lives Matter is a real thing, but
we're gonna let C Money. We're gonna let C Money field all questions and responses, though.
Yes.
I'm definitely the most qualified.
If you say something stupid, don't be mad if you get a stupid response back.
Yeah.